Via. Today, I just really want to take the time to talk about Mother's Day and perhaps, the mixed emotions that a lot of persons will feel coming into this day. Now, forgive all of the banging, banging, banging that you're hearing in the background, but it would appear that my neighbor is doing a little bit of renovation, and of course, the workman is banging down the place, right? But Mother's Day was yesterday, and to be honest, I don't know if there was a different level of mindfulness that a lot of persons had just yesterday because of what is happening, state at the time or whatever, because Corona is here and some persons might be separated from their mothers because of distance. I really don't know what it is, but to be honest, I know that on Mother's Day, you normally have a lot of persons that show up and show out for their mothers. But somehow yesterday was different. Like, even people who would not normally post were taking the time to appreciate their mothers. They were taking the time to share all the good sentiments about their mothers, and I absolutely loved it. Now, for me, it doesn't even need to be Mother's Day. If I just get up on a given day and I decide that I want to post my mom, I would do that. Or anybody else for that matter, anybody in my family or anybody that I care about or love, I would do that. But yes, I was in the posting of my mom yesterday, and to be honest, it was a bittersweet moment for me because you would all know by now that a few weeks ago was when I had to deal with the burial of Mummy Daps, and it was, like I said, bittersweet because traditionally hubby and I would have gone to visit her, bring her favorite cake, which is icebox cake, and we'd also bring some ice cream, which she would use to make a float. Now, everybody will know that the float is when you get all of that creamy goodness and you put it with some soda. Most persons would use Pepsi, and that's what she would make. But in recent times, the whole dairy idea and her were not necessarily working out so good. So we had eased off the ice cream because the milk, somehow she could no longer digest the milk in a way that she was able to. So we had cut off the ice cream thing, but for sure it would have been an icebox cake. I remember maybe 2 years ago, she's very laid back, guys, very laid back, very easygoing. And I remember how he and I teamed up to surprise both mothers, but to get them to go out so we'd eat out and everything, and it was a whole barrage of crazy just to get that going because, like I said, she cooks, she's an excellent cook, she's not fussy, so to get her out or whatever, she wouldn't know. But that was a master plan to trick her in order for her to go out, and we really had the intention that after that particular outing, moving forward, we would find even more creative ways of getting to celebrate on Mother's Day. So it was really a bittersweet moment for me, as I am sure it was for all her siblings, just knowing that that was their first Mother's Day, that she would not have been present. But right here, so in my heart, that's where she is. So that made it bittersweet. But what did I do that was special? So I cooked. That's the usual. I cooked because we're under curfew, which means that by 2 o'clock we would all have to be home, which also means that if I'm supposed to get home by 2, I would expect all of Jamaica to be on the road. So give and take, that would take me to another hour and a half before I'd be able to commute, perhaps to get home, and then it would be more like brunch, and it was just too much drama. So I decided that making a special dinner and also making some vegan ice cream for her, regular ice cream for everybody else, would have been an ideal way to celebrate and just kick back and watch some videos and kiki and laugh. That would have been an ideal way to celebrate, and that is exactly what we did. I also sought to celebrate the other persons in my life who would have been mother figures that have passed on too, and so I showcased my great grandmother, and I also showcased my maternal grandmother. They both have gone on to be with their maker many years ago now. And of course my present grandma, which is my paternal grandmother, she's still alive. She's in her 90s, 90 plenty, and up and about and strong. So I also showcased her. So that was how I really spent Mother's Day. But I want to talk about something else. Mother's Day is not always easy for some persons, and I hinted at it already, because of the fact that they would have lost people that they absolutely love and care about. I have some friends, and let me tell you, every single year when I think about it, I'm like, Lord, what do I just send them hugs, because my whole issue is always, what do I do on this day, especially if they're extremely close to their mothers. Mothers would have transitioned, like how do you now make it easy for them on that day? Some persons are able to deal with it a little bit better, because they will perhaps console themselves by saying, look, my mama has gone on to glory, my mama has gone on to a greater place, and my mama is watching over me. But for some persons, Mother's Day is always difficult. I know of persons who cry despite it being 10 or 15 or even 20 years since they would have lost their mothers. And I'm not just talking about females now, who everybody expects to be overly emotional. I am talking about males as well, who literally break down and cry because this is an all-important day, such as Mother's Day, and they don't have the comfort of being able to celebrate with their mom, and everybody else might be doing it. And then there's a third group of individuals, and sadly, oftentimes we discredit these people and we really don't pay attention to what it is that they feel. It's not everybody and their mother good. Reality. Not everyone can come out and say that they have an awesome, amazing, spectacular relationship with their mothers. Surprised? Sounds weird, right? Like for me, it sounds weird. Like I have an excellent relationship with my mother and even with my father. So it's like when persons don't have that, I'm like, huh? Like, what do you mean? But the older I get is the more I recognize that this is the reality for some persons. They genuinely don't have a good relationship with their mothers. And so to them, Mother's Day is just another day. Like, who cares? Mother's Day to them is like, okay, what are you guys celebrating? You're lucky or you're fortunate that you can celebrate X or you can celebrate Y. But where I am concerned, it's like, no big deal. Nobody cares, right? And it breaks my heart when persons have to go through that, because the reality is, to know labor pain, if you know labor pain, for those who may have experienced it. My mother said I was born easily, like whoops, I was born before the doctor came. I was eager to see the world. But there are some women who will talk endlessly about the pain that they felt carrying a child for 9 months, for those who made it full term, and then having to push that child out, especially those who give birth naturally. There are some persons who may do C-section who complain too, because their bodies months and years after still don't feel as if it has been completely healed. And so knowing that kind of labor pain, knowing what you feel but not being able to be that nurturer to your child, or having that bond that cannot be broken. Imagine you were joined by a cord, an umbilical cord. So it's like, how can you not have a good relationship? But there are those persons who struggle. Sometimes it's not so much about the child's fault either. Sometimes it's the mother's fault. They just don't know how to love, because the reality is there are some women who may have suffered from postpartum depression and they might not know that that's what they were experiencing. There was no support, there was no love, there was so much pain, there's so much trauma, and they've really and truly not hurdled over that. So even for those individuals, it's a serious issue, it's a big deal. Now, there's another group of persons that I want to talk about who may become overly emotional on Mother's Day. And these are those women who may not be able to give birth. Those women who may have fertility issues, they're not able to have children. I'm not talking about those women who are consciously aware of going through pregnancies, some of them, and having multiple miscarriages, and just got to the stage where they have decided that, you know what, I can't do this anymore. And there are also those persons who would have been trying endlessly, relentlessly, just to be able to conceive, and they are unable to. I know of persons who get overly emotional for that reason. They figure that it's a curse that's on them. They figure that God has forgotten about them, and they can't understand why. But I say to everybody that, when it's your season, it's your season, and what is to be will be. And don't worry about it too much, because, God still knows best, and God will decide when it's the right time for you. So that's my word of encouragement for, those persons who may be going through that. If you have nieces and nephews, if you have little cousins, or, whatever it might be, love on them just the same way. If you have your godchildren, love on them just the same way, because the truth is, you really don't have to carry a child and push to be a mother. I have known so many mother figures in my time thus far on earth. You'd be surprised. I could call names. So many persons who are mother figures and they've never had a child. And I want to tell you this too. Sometimes the love and the care and the attention that they give to people's children surmount that which some individuals receive from their own parents, especially their mothers. So for us to always, set up this facade as though you could never be called a mother unless you have physically given birth, in my mind, that is absolutely ridiculous. My encouragement for those persons who may be having struggles within their own relationships, mother-daughter, mother-son relationship, mother-child relationship, work on it. Work on it. It's redeemable. Sometimes what it really takes is a conversation. And I want to talk to the parents in particular, because I have to work in a situation daily where sometimes I just feel like I would hold the neck of some of these parents and pop it. I'm not advocating for violence here, for the simple fact that they never really take time to listen to their children. Neither do they create the environment for their children to want to talk to them. So they genuinely don't understand what is going on. There's so many children walking around that feel unloved. And it is never about the material things that you can buy them. It's whether or not you've ever said to them the 3 words, I love you. I know in Jamaica, we don't really grow up with that culture, where you find parents walking around 24/7 like Americans will do and say, hey, I love you. It's the hardest thing to say. And the same is true for some of us who may be in relationships, when we need to say it to our partners. It filters down to the children. There are children there who don't know that their parents love them because the parents never hug them. Love on your kids. They're yours and they're going to be yours forever. Love on them. And equally, if there are children watching this, I want to say love on your parents too. Love on your parents. I know it gets a little bit weird, like sometimes when my mother comes and she's hugging me, like I'll be like, what happened? It seems so weird, like, oh, come here, hug me up, so it's what? But the reality is, I have no doubt in my mind that my mother knows beyond a shadow of a doubt that I love her. Let me tell people, say, I'm a daughter. I'm a big daughter, right? Like, listen, if you want to see me get mad and get crazy and listen, I kind of mean, ramp with my mother. As a matter of fact, ramp with any of my parents. But when me tell you, say, ramp with my mother, I guess you will go on. It's a different side of me. So, children rather should love on their parents as well and do nice things. It's not always about things having to be expensive. It's the thought that will always count. Don't let it have to be a case where it's Mother's Day before you see the need or decide to do something special. Some parents might never live to see the next Mother's Day, but how would you feel if your parent went on without even knowing that you love them? So do something about it, make it exciting, spend quality time, because there will come a time when, nobody is able to say this anymore. This won't be the reality. And lastly, guys, in wrapping up, I just want to say to those persons who would have lost their parents, hey, I know it rough. I know that it is difficult, but my encouragement to you is to live in the memory and to understand that your parents are always with you. Their presence is there. They are watching over you. They are proud of you, and you continue to live your lives in a way that will honor their legacy. So guess what? If your mommy would normally eat a piece of icebox cake, do like me, go get a piece of icebox cake, and on that day, even though I'm not a cake eater and I'm trying to eat clean again, guys, I'm trying to do it. I'm 1 week through that though. fingers crossed I'll make it right. But let us say that there's something that they like and something that they used to do. By all means, go ahead and do it. Live in that moment. Don't be fearful about it. Don't be resentful about it either, because as I said, if you are of the belief that God is in control, as much as it's going to pain you now, it's hurtful, remember that he would have been setting you up for a greater, a bigger blessing. And the reason he's removed your parent from the equation right now is just to align some things and shift some things so that his great plan and design for your life can be worked out. I know that that is hard to digest. I always say to people when it comes to loss, don't tell me that kind of speech. But after you get through it, or you start to deal with it and you go through, you recognize it's true, okay? Because Via ain't about the lie over here. So for real, all I'm saying is just find ways of honoring and remembering the lovely memories of your parents. Build them. For mothers, no. Oh, final thing. Did it say final already? You know, say my final, them not always final. My final always have a final after the final. I just some mistake. But look here now. You see, for the mothers now, especially young mothers, I know, listen, I talk to you seriously. When I have someone who just love to each up in a house, that's a food thing. When you not go nowhere, when you not care on the children, them go nowhere, when you not take picture, when you not have, at the age of video now, everybody phone can video. Put all of these things together, the clippings, because guess what? Time and time again, and I'm not just going to talk about in depth now, but I'm going to talk about if you have to be separated by distance because you don't know where life will take you, you know. Some of us might have to end up on a different what you might call this now, continent, and it's not that easy to run home. It's not like the speed of light, right? Or the speed of bolt. Let me tell you this, you want to take a lot of pictures. That's what's been keeping me. I still scroll through pictures of my great-grandmother and my grandmother and my auntie all the way in here. I'm able to look at those pictures and I remember the moments, I remember where we were, and that is what keeps me. So ladies and gentlemen, I really and truly want to thank you wholeheartedly for tuning into this channel. The love and support has been great. If you like what it is that I've said here, give it a thumbs up, comment down below, share it with a friend, and subscribe. That's how you're going to know what I'm going to be talking about next, or what I'm going to be cooking, or where I'm going to be traveling to. And guys, keep the subscription going because I need to get to a certain number so that I can have my first live. And I'm excited to have a live. So please, you know, spread the word, send the love, have persons run over to Vibing with Via. I could just go on with a vibe over here, so, and keep it jiggy. Alright guys, so thank you so much for watching, and of course, enjoy the rest of your day.
Good food, me a pre can't get enough. It's Vibing with Via. So grab your phone, grab your tablet. I this you can't miss. It's Vibing with Via. And once you start this you can't quit. You are gonna love this. It's Vibing with Via, Vibing with Via. Yeah, we vibing with, yeah, we vibing with Via.